Hello and welcome to the MHG podcast. As usual, life could be a little bit miserable, life could be a little bit dark, but we're here to snipe in some light and some joy for your listening pleasure. As usual, I'm Bradley, and just back from the States is Stu. How are you, Stu?
Oh, don't you? Like, if it wasn't a false flag operation, you'd just have alerted the FBI to where I was. But yeah, I mean, you know, who can say?
Should we just dive straight into it? Because
Might as well.
I mean, up until like last week, I've never really heard the FAMO synonym. Fuck about, find out.
Yeah.
And now it's everywhere because a certain truth sayer has unfortunately lost his mortal realm.
I know.
We should all feel sad.
I think the Americans are trying to convince other Americans to feel sad, but it's very, very challenging, isn't it? Because, good God, what an agent of horror and chaos that is. And, you know, you reap what you sow, don't you? It's... Yeah, advocate for gun violence and end up with being killed. Yeah.
I am a big believer. Get rid of guns. Absolutely, get rid of guns. I think anyone that's killed by a gun is more evidence of why they should be banned the world over. I feel they should never have been invented. Take away guns from everyone. I know that's impossible now. I don't even think the military should have arsenals, essentially, because wars would be full fists and stuff like that, and you wouldn't be as devastating. But that's a whole other conversation. America definitely needs to get rid of its gun laws, and I'm not sad for Charlie Kirk, but I'm sad that we still have another gun shooting victim. What is really sad is that all the attention is on a right-wing hate monger and not on the school shooting that happened around the same time. And the victims there, not even in the public consciousness. And that's a really sad state of affairs.
Yeah, it's crazy. After Sandy Hook, you just knew that there wasn't anything that could happen in America that would change the way that they interpret the Second Amendment. It's never going to change until America falls as a nation, which is either going to happen in 5 years or 50 years or 500 years, but it'll happen. So,
to paraphrase Jim Jeffries, stand-up comedian, Americans say you can't change the Second Amendment. You can. It's an amendment. Literally, That's what it is. It's a change.
Yeah.
So, yes, you can change the Second Amendment. And what I will say is, I don't feel sorry for Charlie Kirk. This is going to sound brutal. I don't even feel sorry for his children, because I believe his children in the long run, yes, they're going to be upset now and everything, they're going to be better off without him in the long run. And I speak as someone who's never had a dad. They will be better off without him in their lives. When he can turn around and say, if my daughter got raped at a young age, I would still force her to keep the child and not abort it. That is a sick person who would say that. Whether he believes that or not, I have my doubts. But the fact he would say that is disgusting.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe they'll be better off without him. I feel sad for them that they'll be upset now, but I don't think it'll be a bad thing in the long run, because they will have to one day find out what their father was actually like. And my only hope is that Charlie Kirk's wife, or the people around him, are better human beings than he was, and they will bring those kids up properly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's possible to believe two things at the same time. You can believe that gun violence is wrong, but you can also believe that he's no loss to the world. There's no conflict in that belief, and also that, you know, it's sad when somebody loses a parent, but also that they can be better off without that parent. And that's definitely, I agree with you. It's definitely the case. They're not going to ever need or want for anything, and they've now not got that influence in their lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
However, It is America. He is a public figure. And within hours, conspiracy theories. Have you heard any of the good ones yet?
I've probably heard most. It's funny. It does. I don't normally entertain conspiracy theories, but this does look like a very professional setup. And the one that probably holds the most water potentially is that he's been vocal about releasing the Epstein files and that Trump wanted him removed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And how quick Trump was to divert attention. No one's been caught, but he's blaming the left straight away. Now, I know that's also part of Trump playbook, but yeah, that's my second favourite. Right, that is definitely my second favourite one. If there is any, that's probably the one that might be true and will never come out. My other one is that Charlie Kirk really, really wanted his Trump moment and a failed assassination attempt for, look at me. And it went wrong. That's my other one. And that sounds like the sort of thing these right-wing grifters would do.
It does. It actually does.
Because I've heard he was wearing some kind of bulletproof vest, but the shot glanced and hit his neck instead. And I was just like, yeah, that would be quite funny. Because it was the whole setup, because he was doing a debate over shooters and stuff. And it wouldn't surprise me if the person he had was a plant. Because this is what they say. The guy who was doing it was a plant. And those were code words ready for it to happen. So Charlie knew it would happen, but it just went wrong. And I was just like, yeah, why not? I could go with that because it sounds like the stupidest, like a proper dumb way to die that would come out of someone like that.
Yeah. It sounds one of those that's just about plausible as well.
Yeah. Also, what you're getting now is a bunch of commentators and stuff now coming out. Oh, I'm fearful for my life now. Right, Jeremy Clarkson being one of them. For the first time in his life, he fears for himself because of what he writes in papers. And I'm just like, should that not be the wake-up call you need, Clarkson? That you're writing stuff as an opinion that you think might get you hurt. Maybe think about what you're writing and why words have consequences.
Yeah, that is he's the exact same right-wing grifter that they are. He's just doing it for the money and the attention, pretty much.
And then you've got them all going, free. He's just talking about speech. He's just giving his opinion. It's free speech. It's free speech. And then they turn around and go, yeah, but what about the people who are protesting Palestine with placards? Disabled people, vicars, old people. Yeah. No, that's not the same. That's not the same. Not that free speech. It's you're hypocrites.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what? Usually I would go, and this is where the punch up, punch down people don't understand. You don't mock an innocent life, a child getting killed, because obviously the Southport attacks, inquest and stuff is going on at the moment. You're hearing about that again. That is stuff you do not joke about. That is disgusting. It's it's horrible what happened there, and you don't joke about it. Any of the school shootings, you don't joke about them. They are not the right thing to joke about. That's punching down. Punching up to someone like a Kirk or a Trump or something like that. Someone who incites hatred and pushes what is acceptable views to the absolute limits. Yeah, I will mock those because they had brought it on themselves. As you said, I don't condone gun violence, but when you die by the thing you promote the most, there's a sweet irony to it. And also, as we know from Charlie Kirk, he has said a few deaths a year, absolutely fine for your Second Amendment right. So, as far as I'm concerned, he's lived by the sword, he's died by the sword. Empathy? No, because he doesn't believe in empathy. So I'm doing right by him by not giving a fly's shit if he's dead.
Exactly. Yeah. Just living by the credo that he espoused. It's just,
Yeah. From that, do you know what? He's just as good as murdering Charlie Kirk.
What's that?
Nearly as good. The video game industry, Stu.
Yeah, the video game industry then.
We playing out.
What are you playing? Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I know you've been practicing on Sniper Elite.
Well, I have to get the hours in so that you can do it in real life. But
just in case the FBI or anyone are listening, Stu obviously didn't do it. Okay, we are making a bit.
Yeah, definitely doing a bit. Honest to Gov.
Is that all you needed me to say to him, Stu? That was fine, weren't it?
That was it. That was the script. Cool. Yeah. Stay on script. We'll be fine.
Sweet. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So I've well, obviously I've been playing Shinobi a lot, and I completed that the other day. Did 100% on each level, which is great. It's about 40 hours. I haven't really changed my opinion. It's a fantastic game, and really, really good. And yet still don't like it as much as Ninja Gaiden. But
okay, that's answered that question then.
Yeah.
If I told you could only pick one, what would it be?
Yeah, no, it would be a comparatively easy choice, and not because Shinobi isn't fantastic, just because Ninja Gaiden is it's one of the goats. It's just you'd be talking about it alongside all of the greatest of that type of game.
Yeah, this amazing steak is better than that amazing steak. They're both amazing, but I prefer this one.
Well, that's it. They're both in the S tier, and it's just one is very slightly above the other, really. But apart from that, as I mentioned last week, I was going to talk about Metal Eden. I've not really had much chance to play more of it, but I still can talk about it because, it's not that sophisticated. So it's a first-person shooter, and it's got elements of a little bit of fear in there. It's got elements of Ghost Runner because you can parkour on walls and things like that, and it's kind of cyberpunky as you'd expect with that Ghost Runner influence, but it's kind of like the sort of more industrial, militaristic side of cyberpunk rather than the street level.
Yeah,
and it looks fantastic. It's Unreal Engine 5, and they pulled it after the demo because there's a lot of complaints about performance, and they've done a sterling job in getting it to actually work properly. Because it was chugging even on my main PC, but now it's moving nicely, so it looks great, and it'll scale well. And it's important because the design of the enemy characters is really excellent. I can't even really sort of describe them other than cool and funky cyberpunk style, and robotics, and very much appreciate that. The controls are quite tight. And they're fun to use. Decent set of weapons, not fantastic, but okay. Their impact isn't the best. Like the sound effects for them are a little weedy for my liking, which in an FPS is actually quite important for that level of feedback. But they're fine. Gun models are fantastic, and you basically you traverse using jumps, wall jumps, Ghost Runner style, and then you end up in basically combat hubs and arenas, which is very similar to 90s and early 2000s of your Quakes and your Unreals and that's that style of FPS, which is where the wheels come off a little bit, because it introduces early on a mechanic where you can pull the core out of enemies, which is basically their heart. And you can either crush it in your hands and use that to do a super melee attack, or you can use it to throw at enemies like a grenade. And it's a decent enough mechanic in and of itself, but it bases a lot of the combat around that, and you don't really get much more than that, at least for where I've played, in terms of sort of change or sophistication. And there's no I wouldn't say puzzle, but there's no kind of traversal difficulty or challenge, so it's not like Titanfall 2 where there are some sections where you have to be quite on the ball, being able to jump between areas and also shift the time thing.
What is like that?
Yeah, very little indeed, very little. So it's you plod in between arenas really for fighting, and And the combat is good, but I don't know if it's enough to sustain the full game. And I think it's only quite a short game from what I've heard. It's like about 4 or 5 hours. But it's decent and solid, but unfortunately it doesn't match the visuals in terms of gameplay. It's kind of run of the mill, which is disappointing really, because there's a lot there and there's a lot they could have built on. But it just needed some extra stuff. It needed some better level design, I think, and trying to ditch the combat arena thing as much as possible and moving towards a more sophisticated linear shooter, I think.
Yeah, it's. I had a look at it, and it's one of those games where I've seen it and I go, this will be prevalent in a minute. I've seen it before. There's so many of these style first person dungeon run games in a way, just with slightly different aesthetics, and I feel that a lot of them are just doing the same thing in a different skin these days. That was my overall feeling when I saw trailers and read the description of Metal Eden. And it's just a very saturated market at the moment. I would say oversaturated, but it's definitely a very saturated market at the moment.
Definitely, yeah, and you can kind of pin the gameplay on a particular gimmick if you want to. You know, I mean, Ghost Runner kind of does that with the parkour over, pits where you fall and die, and it's heavily melee focused. But you have that upgrade path that changes the game in ways that you want it to. And the upgrades in this game are just kind of as you'd expect. They're just moving the needle in a different direction, slightly further forward.
Is this one a rogue?
No, it's not.
No, it is purely linear. Okay.
Yeah. So that's in its benefit at least. But yeah, no, it's fine. It's just like if you pick it up in a year's time and get it for a $5, you'd be like, oh yeah, neat little escape. But yeah, they were right to move its slot away from Doom, and even then, I don't think it's set the world on fire. So it's a bit disappointing, but solid, but nothing more than solid, really.
So, I have technically been playing Metal Eden's stepsister, whose dad, it's different dads, same mum, different dads, except this one's dad was a rogue, because this is pretty much a very colourful, velocity-based parkour-y arena shooter.
All right.
But with roguelike elements. Roguelite elements, I should say, not roguelike, roguelite elements.
Yeah.
And it's called Voidbreaker. I should probably tell you the title of the game, just in case you do think it's Metal Eden. It's called Voidbreaker. Which, it is just pretty much what you've described, but with roguelite elements.
Right.
You've kind of got this whip type leash thing that allows you to drag yourself through areas and do different things, but you kind of go through, you can get upgrades, you go into slightly different voids, essentially different arenas, and you go and do your stuff, shoot around, collect rewards, move on, upgrade path, go do it again, die, start from the beginning with some permanent upgrades, learn what you're doing, rinse, repeat, the rogue thing. As I said, very similar to yours. Less melee, I would say. It's not very melee focused. It's purely guns focused. Lots of customization that's available now. And it does change the guns up. Nothing, I would say, not talking... Right, so here's why I have a problem. You know how sort of like Gearbox talk about Borderlands and it's like bazillion guns that it has? Essentially, it's 5 different guns with different stats. In Borderlands, as much as they try and dress it up. Yeah, it's like that. It's got loads of customization, not as much customization and stat changes as Borderlands has, but it's got lots of customization. But essentially, you've got the same types of weapons, slightly different. But it does what Borderlands does, and I think what this does really well. You do feel like you have got different weapons all the time. They do enough. They look different enough, and just loads of little bits to make you go, yeah, all right, I'm okay to try this one out, and it does that really well. And the upgrade path you take does have a bearing on how you play the game going forward. It's got lots of nice ideas, but me personally, I don't think going the Hades route of progression, like this is doing, where you kind of go bang, 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 back to a main area, then bang, 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 back to a main area. I don't think it works as well in FPSs as it does in sort of like Hades style games. That's just the me thing. And I think at times this is just a bit too frantic in places. It can feel like you are just running like a headless chicken, shooting everything that moves. Which I know something like a Doom could come across like that, but Doom is still very well crafted in terms of enemy placement and stuff like that. So Doom becomes more of a puzzle game that's just so action-packed and so many smoke and mirrors that makes it feel really it is really fast-paced, but makes you feel like you're just frantic all the time. But you know you can pick a way through if you play it enough. This, however, just feels frantic for frantic's sake. Now, it's not to say it's not a fun game to play. I had a lot of fun with it. But I've played it. It's still early access. I've played it and I'm just kind of like, I think I've had my fill. Nothing wrong with it. It's just I've done plenty of these and I've had my fill of it already, which I don't even have to say that's a shame, because it's less than 20 quid, and I'd say 20 quid's worth. Yeah, definitely. I've had that, but you know, at the moment on Steam you can get it in a bundle with Trepan 2. Or Trepan Squared, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
But that's if you get that, that's a better game to play. I had a lot more fun with that than I did this. Much as how on a lower scale, much lower scale. This to Trepan 2, I prefer Trepan 2. Neither are bad games. That's slightly better. We're not talking like you were with Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden. We're not talking that level of quality. We are talking a lower quality, but it's fun. It's fun enough if you like these sort of things. But for me, I've seen a million of them. You've just spoke about one that's almost identical without the rogue element. So, yeah, as I said, saturated market at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with, like you mentioned, Borderlands in passing, and that's just come out as well. It's very heavy right now for that kind of game. Yeah, tough market.
Yeah, I think nothing wrong with it. It's just, I think, as you said, if you find that for on sale down the line, you'll be happy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And the other one I've been playing, I really don't know, no real proper reviews this week, because this is probably the best game of the lot. But it's about an hour long, hour and a half, 2 hours at most, depending how much you want to drag out of it. It's called Catto's Post Office, and that's it. That's pretty much what the game is. You are a cat living in a cat village or cat town, and you run a post office. You've got to do deliveries. You meet other cats. You have conversations. It's very wholesome, very cozy, lovely to look at, and that's the game. It's just a bit of a slice of life. You're delivering mail, and you're literally delivering mail as an excuse to talk to other cats. And I kind of played it, sat there for an evening, it finished, and I just sat there afterwards and went, that was lovely. What a lovely way to spend an evening. And that's it, done with the game. Sometimes that's all a game needs to be. And that's what that is. It's just a wholesome slice of life thing. And I say, I couldn't even do a written review of it because it's just like, I can't go, yeah, it's a cat post office game where you talk to other cats and it's lovely. That's not a review. But it's probably, of the games we spoke about, it's probably the best game. And it's a £5.
That's excellent. Yeah.
I mean, you could literally go, like we've spoke about, was it a cup of coffee and a cake game before? Get yourself a cup of coffee, what you'd spend on a cake, buy this, and you can literally sit in the coffee shop with your coffee, drinking that, and finish the game. Done.
Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah, it's great that this whole niche has been established now. It's fantastic because, sometimes that's what you want to do. You want to sit down, have a coffee, have a cake, and play a game all the way through that you enjoy. It's great.
No replay value or anything. which is fine. It was like, I think it's not even a £5, it's £4.29. So I just double checked the price. It's £4.29, and it's just like, yeah, I played through it. I think looking at my playtime, it was an hour and 35 minutes I played it for. And I think I got up to go to the toilet at one point. So
yeah, it's a bit like Spilled we played earlier in the year.
Yeah.
It was just that an hour and a half done, but you look back at it with great fondness because it was great for that time.
Yeah. And you get, again, a lot of the bigger publishers, a lot of the bigger indies as well will go, oh, how can we draw more out of this to charge more money or to make sure people are getting their value? Whereas I can appreciate a developer that goes, look, we've shown everything that we need to show inside an hour. So, yeah, let's get it out there. Charge a £5. Oh, someone's then gone, I don't know, I think £5 is a bit too much, Dave. All right, £4.29. Yeah?
Clearly.
I'm assuming it's $4.99 in all fairness, and that's just the conversion rate. That would be my sense of it. As to why you get these slightly weird prices at times. But yeah, absolutely just wonderful game that lasts about an hour. I probably spoke longer than the game lasts.
It's a bit like that with that Tour T that I reviewed a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And that one, unfortunately, I didn't really get much from that. It was okay, but it was kind of awkward, and it was deliberately awkward.
Yeah. I've played that now, and it wants to be one thing while being another thing, and it doesn't it's okay, it doesn't quite merge together as you would hope.
Exactly, yeah. You've got to still have a core of exciting gameplay or interesting gameplay when you're doing that kind of thing, and it just didn't really have it for me. But yeah, this and that was the point I was going to make. That's fine in a way if you're kind of like, okay, I've played it for an hour and a half, and I enjoyed what there was for it. But this lasts longer than that, and also it's about 20 quid. I know it was on Game Pass. A lot of people have played it for effectively
That's not
free,
an excuse, though.
But it's not an excuse, no. It's just not a great game. So yeah, no, it's nice to see this Catto one. It looks lovely.
And I spoke about, was it earlier in the year, Despelote as well, which was another fairly cheap, short game as well. I think we need those. I think we very much need those because I've just started playing again Baldur's Gate 3. I felt like going back to it. And that's like, you could play that for 300 hours and not see everything in the game. It's a ridiculously good game, and it's ridiculously long as well. And that's absolutely fine. But that's one that you'll play. You'll start it at the start of the year and still be playing maybe the same one in 2 years' time. And they're great. But you need those short hour to 2 hour games to offset that. Like, I've played 60 hours of Baldur's Gate. I just need a break, and I need just something I can just play, go through, and park. Despelote, to a T as well. This, like Catto's Post Office, a short hike, all things like that are well worth picking up just to get those short experiences. It's like you're happy to go to the cinema and watch the latest 3 hour epic or whatever it is. But sometimes you just want to go and just watch this cozy 90-minute relaxing film. And both are okay and both need to exist in the same world. So yeah, really, really well done. And it just shows, again, the indie scene. You couldn't get away. Like EA, Ubisoft, Microsoft, they couldn't put this game out. No, because people, the usual kind of go, well, I'm not paying for that. That's not worth getting Game Pass for. It is. But anyway, it's a short one this week, but I just want another couple of things I've been playing. I've been really fancying racing games of late, and I tried jumping back into like Forza Horizon, and it's just like, God, there's so much to do. And it's just pointless stuff to do. It's like just pottering around. And I don't want to just potter around in a racing game. I want to actually race. And I kind of loaded up Forza Horizon 5, and I've completed the main part of it. I was just like, there's just so many icons on the map, and I'm just like, I just want to do this. And I was like, I've got to go all the way over there, and I don't want to do that. I've got to try and search for the thing I want. So I've been back playing some older games. Usually I jump back and play Burnout and stuff like that. And I think I mentioned last week about how someone's done a HD up-res of like Need for Speed Underground 2. And I've been playing that. And that's just really good. It's really focused and it's really clever in many ways. And it reminded me of something that Driver San Francisco did. That Need for Speed Underground 2 does that the Forza games don't do. And that is you've got a map and it gets bigger the map, but it only gives you a small area to start with and encourages you to drive around that small area, learning the small area, doing the few races there are within that area before it unlocks the next area. And I think what happens now, you get a lot of like the Turn 10 or EA, whoever's making these games, they go, but people might feel restricted and we need them to just unlock everything and want to buy stuff possibly because it's a chore. Whereas these older games are just like, look, go do the races. You know, we're confident the races we set up are fun and the progression in them is really good. I've got, like, in Need for Speed, I probably changed my car once and now I'm attached to the car I've got and I'm just upgrading that car and giving it new decals and stuff because you grow attached to the car. It's not a case of Pokemon but cars that like the Forza games are these days or the later Cruise and stuff like that. And then I went, what else is there? What else do I remember from the day? There's Midnight Club 2. I did try and play Midnight Club LA, but it doesn't emulate on anything well at all, unfortunately. But it's Midnight Club 2. I've been playing that. It looks rough. There's obviously some quality of life it could do with if they was to redo it. But again, it's just focused. Even though it's open world, it's focused and to the point. And it's like fun to play. It's forgiving. Like you can bash into things and like the races are over. And it's something we always used to complain about is rubber banding. But when you do rubber banding well, like I think the games of this era done, like Need for Speed did, like Midnight Club does as well. Rubber banding in that, when it's done well, gives you the illusion. And that's what you want sometimes. If I'm playing a sim, then no, I don't want that illusion. If I'm putting in lap time after lap time after lap time, I want to be kicking the arse of the people I'm rated against. I get that. But in an arcade racer, street racer that's based on Fast and the Furious, rubber banding's fine. And I'm finding it works fine. And it's good. It keeps you into the race. But if you do get really good at it, they're still not rubber banding enough that, you know, you are miles ahead and then all of a sudden they've caught up by the second to last corner and you're going to lose through one mistake. It's not that bad. It's clever and it's really well done. And again, obviously, you've got your outruns and things like that. And I was looking at a lot of games, even a lot of the indie races that are really good, like Circuit Superstars, Art of Rally, Formula Retro Racing, all those sort of games. They don't have what I see as that element of pure fun from that PS2 era of games. I played Juice 2, a game which I remember playing it in, like, when I was younger, and it was average. It was bang average. It's still bang average. But compared to what I'm playing today, it's so much fun. You can forgive the flaws because it's still, excuse me, it's still enjoyable. And I thought, where has the fun gone from racing games? Why are games so sterile now? Even like the festival scene in like Forza Horizon, it's sterile as fuck.
Yeah, it is very funny how it happened, and you know, I don't know really what caused it. I mean, you might have to lay the blame. There's lots of things, but I suppose
us, I think,
on the gamers.
Not me and you, Stu, but us as consumers.
Yeah, generally, I think kind of Gran Turismo obviously paved the way for that kind of simcade more towards the sim side, whereas, you know, PGR was simcade but more towards the arcade side, and Gran Turismo always had the more cachet and sold more copies, so that will have not helped. But the argument for having great racing games is so strong because they're so much fun, and the PS2 could finally do justice to the likes of what you got and experienced in sort of Sega Rally. I mean, they still did it in the PS1 and Saturn era to a degree, but it really sort of came into its own at PS2 era and the Xbox and PGR and things like that.
Yeah.
And you felt that fun running through it all, and it was double A to triple A developers making these games, and you really need them invested in this type of game, because making an arcade racer that feels fun and that has good physics is so difficult, to get the balance. It's very, very tricky, and because like you mentioned a bunch of games there, having a game that's sophisticated enough for people to enjoy, but also for it to have fun physics and sense of speed is really challenging. And yeah, you can't really emulate it in the indie world very easily. So yeah, it's disappointing that we don't have that anymore, because they used to be so much fun.
Yeah, and there's I've been looking around, doing some to future racing games coming up and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, there looks to be a few maybe indie developers that have looked to that era of games and have gone, we want those back. And there's some that look promising at the moment that seem to be going for that 2000s era underground racing scene. And I really, really hope they can nail it. Because EA obviously won't give us a full remake of Need for Speed Underground 2 without probably butchering it and turning it into some kind of live service. Things like Juiced are dead in the water now. Rockstar, are they ever going to go back to Midnight Club? I doubt it, because they've got their own racing parts that are in their GTA Online game, so they're never going to go back to that. So it is on the indies, I think, to do it. And there's a couple that are way on the horizon, but on the horizon that might do it. And there's one called Night Runners, which is a bit Need for Speed Underground stroke Tokyo Highway
battle.
Yeah. And it's kind of a mix of those two, and there's a demo for that. That's really good, but it's only been a demo for a few years now, and is it actually coming? But there's quite a few on the horizon, and I might do a write-up on the site when my vision improves. But we need to get back to fun racers, and fun racers isn't just karting or versions of karting. Blur, that was probably the last, I think, for me, big racer that had personality. And it's missing PGR. I can't see Microsoft ever going back to that well. And would that come back with personality? I don't think it would. So yeah, it's a shame, but thankfully, Stu, emulation is a darling thing, really.
Yeah, it's an absolute lifesaver, completely. Yeah.
Just very, very quickly, I'm sorry, I know you want to keep it short. I've just finished season 2 of Twisted Metal on TV, and I'm going to say it now, I'm going to die on this hill. I'll put it on Blue Sky. It is quite possibly the best video game adaptation ever committed to screen. It's better, for me, than The Last of Us, which was probably considered the best of all of them. Apart from that one episode with Nick Offerman in it, that stands above anything. That is just a one-off amazing episode, and that you could just watch that. You don't even need to understand The Last of Us. It's just the most beautiful love story. Absolutely love it. But Twisted Metal, this is how you take a source material. You take it. You take slight elements from it for Easter eggs, but go with your own story. You have characters who are famous from the game. You have like Sweet Tooth and Calypso and stuff like that, and the general premise. But then you do your own thing with it, and it's just outstanding. It's fun. It's bonkers. It's emotional at times. It's camp where it needs to be. And yeah, it's the best video game adaptation to date. Watch it if you get a chance.
Yeah, no, I'll have to give that a go. I keep saying I must give it a go, but yeah, I will give that a go.
It's all on Paramount Plus, I believe, or. You could
On the high
emulate it, Stu. You
yeah.
could emulate it.
Emulate it on the high seas. That's what will be happening.
Emulate it on the VLC emulator, if
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely outstanding. Yeah, just wanted to get that in because I've just finished watching it.
Marvellous.
That's it. I don't know where to go. Shall we go and set up a change my mind debate somewhere?
Yeah. So around the Charlie Kirk kind of things.
Yeah. Or you can go be an FBI informant on Epstein's Island.
That sounds like a grim task.
That's the other thing that made me laugh. And that would have been the biggest story of the week. That one of his insiders went, no, Trump was on Epstein's Island, but he was an FBI informant. Yeah, that's it. BA.
They'll try that. They will at some point.
They have.
Oh, have they?
Oh yeah.
Bloody hell.
An undercover reporter went on a date, quote unquote, with somebody on his inner circle. And yeah, he was going, yeah, no, the Trump was there, but he was acting as an FBI informant. And you're just like, really? I mean, really?
How dumb do you think we are, kind of thing?
I mean, very dumb. Not me and you, but the general populace.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's why I'm so grateful for video games.
Gotta have that escape. Little escape hatch.
Definitely. That's it, really. I've got nothing else, Stu.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, Brad can't see and I've got a cold, so none of us can be... We've only got so much energy, you know what I mean? But yeah, as usual, follow us on all the socials. Make sure
Stu hasn't got a cold, he's jet lagged from Utah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, still scrubbing the gun oil off my hands. Really am going to get a knock on the door from the CIA or something soon, aren't I? But yeah, follow us on all the socials, check out the content on the website, join us on Discord if you wish to chat, and apart from that, until next week, stay safe and stay sane.